What's up, guys? It's Alex Ray, and you're listening to the Motoxpod Show.
Hey, this is Benny Bloss, and you're listening to the Motoxpod Show, best one out there.
Welcome to the Motoxpod Show, starring Darkside, his co-host Scotty, sometimes TJ.
Yo, the Motoxpod Show is back. Tonight's episode 247, brought to you by our title sponsor, Jerky's USA. For decades, Jerky's USA has been the leader in motoplastic and accessories. Products that fit perfect, look great, and last. Jerky's has what you need. Whether it's full plastic kits, individual pieces, hand guards, chain guides and sliders, or even some skid plates. Jerky's USA has what you need, so visit them, support our title sponsor. Racetech's on board. They're the world's largest aftermarket suspension modification company. All Racetech products include award-winning go valves, and settings are 100% guaranteed and made in the USA. Racetech also offers state-of-the-art precision engine services and parts to all engine builders. So visit racetech.com. Use that promo code MOTOXPOD to save. Fly Racing's on board as usual. Fly Racing's the only choice if you want the best. Just ask Kurt Ryder, Zach Osborne, RJ Hampshire, Damon Bradshaw, Justin Brayton, Carson Mumford, and Dean Wilson. Check out your local dealership and ask for Fly Racing, as well as the endless list of products offered by WPS. X-Brand goggles, top choice of goggles for many of the privateers like Kyle Chisholm, Ben LeMay, Ryan Brees, as well as Craig DeLong from GNCC, which I'll be at this weekend. Why are you laughing over there, TJ? You just laughing at someone. Oh, you're watching.
Just chat stuff.
Yeah,
Something
he's not
you
even
wouldn't
paying
understand.
attention to the show, I guess. Craig DeLong from GNCC with multiple lines to choose from, such as the EKSS, the GOX Flat Out, and the all-new Lucid with Wave Latch quick-release lens system. You are sure to find a goggle for you at a price you won't be able to beat. Go to your local dealership. Ask for X-Brand goggles, distributed by WPS. Also, Works Connection with products like the industry standard Pro Launch Start Device, the Elite Clutch Perch, radiator braces, customized master cylinder covers, and much more. It's hard to imagine you not going to WorksConnection.com, so you too can have what the pros use. You guys want to visit WorksConnection.com and use the promo code MOTOXPOD20 to save. I'm positive they have something that you need. Torque One Racing, R Jerky for your snacks. MotoXPod21 to save at eatrjerky.com. Berm Lords Graphics and Jersey ID. Shock Socks, Williams Motorworks, Extreme Colors, Helmet Painting, Blood, Lubricant, Oil Lines, Power Band Racing, TruFusion Sports, Grill Your Ass Off. Once again, this is episode 247 of the Motoxpod Show tonight with Joey Crown, Garrett Marchbanks, and Christien Ducharme. He is Jet Lawrence's mechanic. In studio, I got Scotty over there on the equipment, running a few minutes late. Caused all the issues you may or may not have heard.
I was not late.
Actually, you said you would be here before 6.
And I got here at like 6:01. 6. So I was in the
Late.
driveway at 6.
Oh,
That
That's
man,
late.
you know what, TJ? I used to have a guy that I worked with that, started at 8 o'clock. He'd walk through the door at 8.
Ah.
And, you hear the door shut at 8, and the boss is like, dude, you're late. I walked through the door at 8. It doesn't matter. Work starts at 8.
Did he continue to keep gainful employment?
Yes, of course he did, because it's 2022.
And I
so
bet
why
you he
not?
got paid too.
Yeah, he did.
He now has
He
your
did.
job,
And anyway, TJ, you're in studio, obviously.
obviously.
Sorry, I
In a
didn't.
jacket, I don't really understand.
The 40-minute drive wasn't fast enough today. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you know it takes 40 minutes and leave
I left my
like
house at
an
I
hour and
left-
20 minutes
I
but
left
early.
my
you were
house
at work today, right?
Yeah, no, I wasn't.
But I was at work today. I was
but
working
I
when
left.
you got here.
I left my house at like 5:15.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
traffic was just kind of crappy.
Well, you gotta account for traffic.
I did usually.
You also should probably account for having your equipment set up properly, and I failed at that with the intro. If you're watching on YouTube, you caught it. If you're not watching on YouTube, hopefully Scotty
It
cuts
sounded
it out.
perfect. Well, as long as you hear it.
I was still plugged into the studio monitors instead of the board.
Yeah.
Oops.
Well, what's funny is I actually thought it was my fault because this sound wasn't on, So I think it would have been screwed up either way.
Oh yeah, so it was your fault. There you go.
Yeah.
It was
At least he owned up to it.
collective fault.
Yeah, we're gonna blame
That
it.
sounds like a good
I
band.
watched him do
I'm
it.
the host.
Collective
He's
fault.
the producer. It's on him.
I
All
watched
those. He
him
should
do
check
it.
my board to make sure it's right.
Yeah.
He's the producer.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Because he's never here.
Never here. You got a promotion. You didn't even know, but obviously.
That's why. That's why you're getting those parts and stuff. For your motorcycle.
That I haven't got yet.
and the free oil that you got.
Yeah.
That's true. You got free oil.
That I spilled all over the track.
We gave him free oil and he just wasted it.
Just wasted it
That was
onto
a
the track.
brand new oil too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Anyway, you're in studio,
Yes, sir.
which is unusual.
I mean, I just got to come in here every now and then and herd the cats and get the show going down the right path
Right.
again, and then I
Yeah,
can go back
yeah.
to work.
I
it looks
hear
like
ya.
he's gonna ski home.
But I got this jacket for $2. It was on clearance at Walmart.
You brought the skis out.
He thinks it's cold. I was like, I wish I could take my shirt off and my pants off. Feels so good in here.
That you put that on your OnlyFans. I think we're just gonna not have that in this show.
Yeah. If my OnlyFans would make some money, I would start one.
I've been trying to get my wife. She has really cute feet, and I'm like, I'm sure we can sell pictures of your feet because no one will even know it's her. But she won't.
I would
do
pay to not see somebody's feet.
it. She has cute feet. They're like
Nobody
little,
has cute feet.
They're like little kid, like little
Nobody has
baby
cute
feet.
feet.
They're tiny.
Nah, nobody has cute
Yeah,
feet.
feet stuff's weird, man.
Feet are gross.
Yes, I'm not into feet stuff. So if somebody else wants to be into her feet,
I just think about that. I was watching that King of the Hill episode where they're shooting Peggy's feet and they're like breaking eggs and throwing like chili
I think
on it
I
and
remember
stuff.
that. That sounds vaguely familiar. All right, well, like I said, Joey Crown, Garrett Marchbanks, Christien Ducharme on tonight. But we got a few things we can talk about ahead of time. We haven't done a show since World Supercross.
Yeah.
TJ here hasn't watched it, so
I didn't know you could.
I'm
I-
like the media guy.
I got lucky. I did not
you-
realize that
'Cause
it
we
was.
didn't talk about it, right? We haven't. Have we done a show since World Supercross? I didn't think so. So go ahead.
I got lucky and caught it at the last second to record, and I thought it was cool. I liked the Super Pole.
Super Bowl was cool.
The track was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yep, I agree.
Overall, I think it was a success. I mean,
I would have loved to watch it. I watched all
the racing was cool. I really thought Roxon had it, and then Tomac just kind of did what he did all last year and just was kind of just there.
Just the most
consistent.
dominant rider this year.
Let Roxon make his own mistakes.
I
and-
did heard they were trying to throw a bunch of money at him to come to Australia.
Yeah, but I don't think he's eligible because of the way the rules are set up anyway. It doesn't matter. He was considered a wild card, so once you're considered a wild card, I don't like they talked about because a couple guys have gotten hurt, like
Reed almost died.
Reed and
Yeah.
Josh Grant, that he could fill in those spots. But I think the rules are set up where I'm not sure exactly, but I don't think he was eligible, and he's not worried about it that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Kenny's probably going to lock this thing down.
Well, I think if it was $100,000, $200,000-$300,000 in his pocket, he'd be worried about it.
Depends on what his contract and the team say, though.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem with a lot of these guys. But, yeah, the event was cool, Scotty. The track was wider than a normal Supercross track, which I thought was kind of cool. Made a little more room for different line choices.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see a ton of that. The way
The finish line ramp was cool. I saw there was that super pole that Roxon did. He scrubbed that metal jump, and there was literally like he had one more tire knobby spot left on that jump before he was off of it.
Yeah. What about
he was so
we
wide
talked
when he
about
scrubbed
him
it.
scrubbing? I was at Red Bull.
Oh yeah, that was
Jesus.
crazy.
I am even more of a fan of straight rhythm now after the idea of them joining it with that other with the Roland Sands race. I'm going next year.
Yeah, we'll talk about that just in a second here. But World Supercross, we got the next round this weekend in Australia, which I won't get to watch because I'll be at GNCC, but hopefully I'll get to watch it when I get home.
How did you watch it?
It's on
This one will be on FS1, I think.
yeah, it was FS1.
Like, I don't know. I think it's live this time on FS1, but the last one you had to – it was streamed on YouTube. People put it on YouTube. But legally, I don't know whether the way that was supposed to be done is we could not watch it in the United States live.
Right, that's what I thought.
But we just got a VPN, like from Switzerland or whatever, and then got a code, and we watched it that way.
You stole it.
Well,
No,
I guess
they
they
gave it to us.
broadcasted it on Sunday. That's what I saw it on.
It was on FS1 on Sunday,
Okay.
but it wasn't like on an app. So if you didn't catch it at the time it was on,
Oh, you have to have like DirecTV.
yeah, or
Well,
I have the
I
FS1 app.
I
but
recorded it through my Hulu. Like I recorded it.
I didn't know you could record live TV, like regular TV on your Hulu.
I pay for I basically pay like it's basically
Okay.
cable.
like
I mean,
a DVR
yeah,
type of
it's basically
setup.
the
I
same
got
thing.
you. Okay,
Gotcha.
yeah, I don't.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't do that. But so it wasn't the easiest thing to watch. But it was pretty cool. Like, it was better than I thought it was going to be. It had some good points. It had some things that weren't great.
Super Pole's dope. I like Super Pole.
Super Pole was cool.
I guess I need to watch it because
Yeah, you probably do.
I never watched any of the overseas stuff with Super Pole. It's just one person on the track doing laps.
Yeah.
But the way they did it, like,
2 fast laps.
so like when you got like a warm up lap and then you went into your lap. So they were pretty good about like when you were watching the guy finish his lap, but the other guy was already had started his lap. So when it got going, he came.
Oh, that's cool.
You
There
saw the
wasn't really
very end of
downtime.
his.
I got you.
Yeah,
That-
so it flew. It was a pretty
Yeah.
good flow for it.
Did everybody get to do Super Pole or only
Top
certain
10.
people?
Top 10 qualifiers
Oh, so you
after the heats.
after the
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Like
It was only 450s too, right?
yeah, it was only the
250s,
450s. It was, and when I like, so I was watching it recorded, so I would like skip around, like skip to the and then like, it was kind of confusing me. Like I skipped and I was like, whoa, I missed like, how did I miss a whole race? And
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it was weird. Like it recorded for like 4 hours, but the actual broadcast was only like 2.5 hours. So I thought like I was trying to get to the end, but the end was like extra recording. I don't know. My DVR did something weird.
You're confusing the hell out of me, that's for sure.
It confused the hell out of me.
I watched it live, and I thought it was pretty good. I think it's the first one. They're going to work out
Right.
some kinks. You know, there's a few issues.
Crowd
here and
seemed
there.
into it. I mean,
Yeah, crowd was pretty good. I don't remember what the numbers were. I thought the racing was pretty decent. Freezy was a little bit surprising. It does suck that Reed and Grant went out like in qualifying.
yeah, Reed.
Oh,
Reed,
was it?
Yeah.
I saw the wrecks.
Yeah.
but I
it was a
didn't-
heat race. Yeah.
Was he okay? Heat race. Yeah, heat race. Not qualifying because that was the day before.
Yeah, Reed almost died. It was
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. Blows. I was really impressed with Blows. Got second overall in SX2.
Yeah, that
And-
250 class was wild.
Yeah, that was good stuff. I mean, Oldenburg should have probably won the whole thing, but bad start in the second one. Then tried to kill Derek Kelly.
Did you did you like the 1 2 3 1 2 3 or would you have rather seen like a 1 1 2 2 3 3? For the
What?
did you like that they did all the lights first and then all the 450s, or would you have rather have seen them alternate?
No, I think I liked it the way it went. I like that was what I did like. I liked that it was like a Triple Crown format,
But
but
they're
it was
back
there
to
was
back.
no freaking rest time.
No, there
like,
wasn't.
Line back up, you got a couple
And
seconds.
it was like
and then go.
what, like 8 10 12?
Yeah, something like that. I liked
That's
that
cool.
that it was really fast and they had to recover fast and there wasn't much time to work on anything
Mm-hmm.
and I liked that. I thought that was cool. That was probably one of my favorite things of the night, actually.
And as much as they rode on it, the track seemed to hold up pretty good. It didn't look like
slick as
it looked slick, but it didn't
crap,
look
hard
like
pack, yeah.
it didn't look like Indy or St.
Right.
Louis or something like that.
So watching this is obviously it's supposed to be different than a, what do you call it, like a Paris or whatever. And a lot of times you don't take anything from Paris because it's an off season. Do you think that we could take anything away from like the results? Like you look at these results and you're like, I mean, Oldenburg almost winning. Does that mean?
Are you talking
there's-
about the track that they're riding on gives?
No. I'm talking about like
from the results.
from the results. Does that mean Oldenburg next year is going to be like a contender for 250?
Well, I think he was anyway. I think he should have been.
I meant like top contender. Like he is a contender. I mean,
I think he's
Freckles
a top 5 guy.
Yeah, Freckles fast. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is he sounds like he should have won without that one bad result.
Of the guys there, he was probably the best ones. But
the field was not as deep.
yeah, it wasn't like he
Okay.
was racing Jed and Joe Shimoda and Austin Faulkner. So no,
Gotcha.
not. But I still think he's top 5 guy in American Supercross in my opinion. And I think it rejuvenated Blows, who was ready to retire and had already talked about retiring. And I think
he was done.
Yeah, when he did really well and he was really excited. And I mean, like theoretically, with only one race to go, he could win this whole thing. He could be the world
Yeah.
Supercross champion in SX2 after Australia. And he kind of talked about during the post-race stuff, like, man, he kind of wants to keep racing almost. Like this might have rejuvenated him. Maybe it doesn't.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is,
But-
is this like doing Canadian nationals? You get what I'm saying? Where you have guys that can go up to Canada
And can dominate, but then, yeah.
but then they come here and the outdoor nationals and they are top 10.
I don't know that I would classify it as being like Canadian nationals, but it's I know what you're saying. So maybe a little bit. It's not a true showing of what these guys where they are
Where they stand
because the
in
talent
competition.
level is much lower. Obviously Kenny and Eli were the exceptions in the SX1 class.
Yeah.
Unfortunately Dean just continues to have bad luck, crashes. Chiz didn't look good. Joey Savacci was probably the biggest disappointment of the night because I think he was way better than his 7th showed. Just had
Yeah, didn't he hit the ramp?
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
he messed up right before that ramp.
and slid
Yeah.
into the
I think he
ramp.
would have been on the podium.
Dude,
for sure.
and when he crashed, somebody, we only got 2 minutes before we got a Joey Crown on, but somebody, as I recall, like they went off the ramp but didn't have the speed to go off the ramp, but then they didn't show it because I was like,
oh, so
didn't he go over Sabachi?
the freestyle ramp, you could actually roll it. It actually, like, you could actually roll the ramp. It
that's
had
cool.
it had a little
so it was-
backsplash
okay,
on
I
it.
didn't notice that.
Because I went back and I was like, wait a second, where did he just
I don't
go?
remember who that was, but somebody went off that ramp, and I was like,
He just went-
they're about to die.
Yeah.
No, it had a little knuckle over it. And it had a
Okay,
little.
all right.
It still looks sketchy as hell to roll it, but you could roll it.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's take a commercial break, and we'll get Joey Crown on.
Yeah, that's something I would have liked to see. After y'all talking about it, it's like I've heard people talk about it. I've listened to a couple other like podcasts reviewing it or whatever, and hearing y'all talk about it makes me more want to watch it.
It wasn't bad. I mean, I
Yeah.
watched it.
Yeah, it was okay. I thought it was good. It wasn't as exciting to me as American Supercross.
Josh
but-
Hill pulled out this quad in Super Pole, and then Roxon said, like, Roxon did it to get the fastest time,
Yeah.
and said that he wouldn't have done it if Josh hadn't have done it. That was
Really?
a big quad too.
Yes, it
like
was.
I hadn't seen something like that.
He
in a
only
while.
did it during the pole.
Kenny was doing it in the race,
Yeah. I don't
but
think it was faster.
he
It
hadn't
just looked
he
cool.
hadn't done it. He had not done it until the pole.
Gotcha.
Nobody had done it all day, and Josh pulled it out in the Super Pole, and he was like this. He did it, and then like 5 riders later, Kenny did it. Nobody else did it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Our first guest of the night is going to be brought to you by Racetech, which is the world's largest aftermarket suspension modification company. Visit racetech.com for more info and use promo code MOTOXPOD to save. Tonight, Racetech brings us privateer Joey Crown. What's going on, Joey?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just excited sitting here talking to you guys.
Yeah, man. I don't think we've ever had you on this show, and that's, that sucks for us. That was on us for not getting you on here sooner, but dude, you've got a lot going on right now. I think you're still in recovery from an injury, but I really just kind of want to talk first a little bit about your background. You grew up in Michigan, but it's cold in the wintertime. How'd you get into motocross?
Yeah, grew up here. I'm actually here currently right now. But got into it. My dad raced back in the day. He was pro. Not like the best in the world, but he scored points every year. Like had a number every year. He raced. I think he had a 7th in a moto at Troy, Ohio. I think. And best overall was 11th. But so yeah, he's pretty solid. But he had to work, during the weeks and then go race on the weekends. He didn't have the luxury of just racing. But so, being a little kid, my dad was done racing pro by the time, I was ready to race. But, I wanted to be like dad. So
Yeah.
got me a bike when I was 3. Started racing when I was 5, and gradually progressed from there. Went to first year of Loretta's was 07, and just kind of all snowball from there. But in the winters, I didn't ride much. I would do ice racing.
Oh, wow.
I do that, snowmobile, but stuff like that. And then once I got a little older, like on 60s, I would do some weekend trips here and there. And then 80s, I would spend a month in the winter before spring nationals and stuff. But I never really went anywhere and like lived at a training facility really till basically once I turned pro.
Yeah,
I suppose.
you didn't have that luxury as an amateur then, that especially a lot of kids do now. That's a tough way to build your amateur career, not getting to race much during the wintertime.
Yeah, it was tough. You can kind of see it in my results. Always like mini O's, I always did really good at the end of the year. I won my most titles. My first title was there that I won, and the most titles I've won in amateurs, anyways, was there.
Okay.
Because I get the ball rolling, and have a full year in my belt, and then I go home and sit in the snow, and then start all over again the next year. But
Yeah, I was looking at your Loretta's results, and from 2007 until you went pro, you actually had some pretty good results. I mean, you had 10 top fives, which included 8 podiums and 3 championships. I mean, that's a pretty good Loretta's career just right there.
Yeah, I was pretty good there. I had a pretty good amateur career, mine, decent amount of injuries, but yeah, I always rode good at Loretta's, and I battled with Chase Sexton and Justin Cooper and Faulkner and a lot of the top named guys, younger guys now around my age. Raced with them and competed with them at Loretta's, and then just through some injuries and different things that didn't click when I got turned pro like those guys did. They had rides going into pro where I didn't, and I went through some injuries and stuff, and it's just the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, coming out of the amateurs, like I guess when you were on 65s, that was like the beginning of kids starting to go to training facilities. So it was kind of a mixed bag when you were on mini bikes of kids that trained full time, and then a lot of kids that were especially up in like the snowy states, I guess you'd say, that didn't get to ride all the time. Do you think that was a positive? Like, because you got more of a childhood than some of these other kids did, or do you think that you were like hindered by that?
No, I think it was a good thing that I did what I did, and I mean, you see it with guys like Chase or Cooper that did had a similar, upbringing, and they didn't hit it hard all year round, and they're peaking now. And so I was happy to be able to be a kid. I mean, in the moment, like I wanted nothing to do but just ride my dirt bike. I hated school, and all I wanted to do was ride. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it was a good thing. And you look at my results; they didn't hurt too bad. I mean,
right.
The spring races were a little tough, but usually by Loretta's, when it really mattered, I was where I needed to be for the most part.
All right, Joey. So I know that you've been through a little bit of a time of adversity recently, and I just kind of wanted to know, maybe away from moto, what have you learned the most about life through facing the adversity that you have through the past however long?
Yeah, it's this has been a tough one for sure. I've been through a lot of injuries. This isn't my first one, a lot of tough injuries, but this has definitely been the worst one I've had. And back at club, and it sure threw me for a rip. Like last year, I crashed Daytona and got a concussion, and it lingered a while, so I wasn't able to get back to racing all year. So I came home, got a job building decks. So I kind of experienced, life out of racing, I guess, doing that, and having to work for a living. It wasn't very fun, but definitely fueled the fire to get back at it. And I got back racing again, and just doing some fall money races. I was getting ready to go to Paris, and then this injury happened. So
yeah, hey, before you go on, just so people know, in November of last year, right before Supercross, before Paris, you had a crash at club and lots of injuries. Broke radius, ulna, elbow, humerus, shattered your eye socket, broke your nose, still have lingering vision issues. So yeah, not just a normal crash, like a really significant injuries.
You know what I think of when you say all that? I think of the little guy in Mad Skills when you wreck and he just wads himself down the bottom of a hill. That's had to have been what happened, right?
Yeah. Well, anyway, continue,
yeah.
Joey. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure people knew what happened.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So there's a laundry list of injuries.
Yeah. Lucky to be alive, sounds like.
Yeah, for sure. The people there, they thought I was dead. I was laying there, knocked out, and from what caused the injuries to my face, I took a handlebar, came up through my goggles, and caught my eye and cut my nose and my eye open really bad. So there's a lot of blood. So they panicked for good reason. Called the helicopter in, and I woke up, shortly after, and I knew what was going on. But yeah, it was very scary for sure. Very thankful it wasn't worse. But that's recovering from that, going through that adversity. It's about a lot of perspective, trying to keep a good perspective to get through it, and look at it as, be grateful that it wasn't worse, and grateful I've come as long as I've had. Then, why me, and look at it in a negative manner. That's something I've been really working on through this process. It's still working on it. I'm still recovering, and man, being a racer, it's we're really impatient. When it comes to healing, trying to get back out there.
Yeah, and I would think, like you said, it'd be very easy to. And you probably went through stages of anger, depression. Why me? And then maybe, like you said, maybe you start it brings life into perspective, and you go, okay, motocross is cool. Motocross is, my living, but motocross, it's not everything. Like, you have to, it brings that life into perspective, right? There are other things that are important.
Oh, for sure. Like as anyone like racing at a competitive level knows, it's all they really, that's all their life is, is dirt bikes, and then when it stops, and like this year it stopped, and it was like, it's been almost a year since it's been about a year since I've raced a dirt bike, and it's definitely changes a lot, and you have to look at different way of life. Like, I've done a lot of things I haven't done in the past, which is nice, but I'd for sure rather be racing. But just trying to take this time to experience different side of life, and change the perspective, and find my path, I suppose, when I am done racing, and what I can do, so.
Yeah. Let's back up for a minute, though. We were talking about your amateur career a little bit ago, and you mentioned, like, you didn't get a ride coming out of amateurs, and that was the same time frame as Justin Cooper did. With those results that you had, like, I would think somebody would have made some kind of offer. Was there just nothing? What was that time period like for you? And then deciding to go pro as a privateer, how difficult was that?
Yeah, it was tough. But 2016 was my first year in A, and I had like a pretty decent Team Green Pro Circuit deal, and I was kind of like the only A rider for them, and I had a really rough year at Loretta's and didn't perform, and so I kind of got written off after that, and I got a little bit of support from Cowie and Monster for the next year, but I wasn't on Team Green. It was just like a side gig, and then I did really well. I did pretty well that year, but I was still kind of overshadowed by Cooper. He did, really, really good. Like at Loretta's, like I won both my titles at Daytona that year, beat Justin Cooper, but then he did really good at Mammoth and killed it at Loretta's, and I did solid. I got second and third at Loretta's, but wasn't really didn't show enough. And there was a lot of other kids I was racing against that already had deals signed, so there's just no spots available. And I didn't want to stay amateur another year and be a third year in A.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, we'll go give it a shot. And I turned pro, and I scored points at the last 3 rounds. Didn't quite do as great as I would have liked, but it still was all right. And I did get a ride with Club Max after that, but it wasn't like factory sported. But it was the first year they came back with a team, and I had a Supercross ride and a Canadian Outdoor ride, and then I ended up getting injured, so I didn't race Supercross that year, but I raced the Canadian Outdoors that year. But
Scotty.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know, I've got your picture up of you were not able to defend your title at Straight Rhythm this year, and I saw that you were throwing back to it on Instagram, and I just wanted to think what you thought of the event, and you know how you thought it went, and where you thought you might have been, and all that.
Yeah, Rebels Trailers. It's a really cool event. Like, I grew up, watching it and always like wanted to be there one day, and it was cool to get to go the last time I had it in 19, and race it, and that was a lot of fun. And it's even more fun when you win.
Right.
It makes it a lot better. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to race it this year. Pretty bummed, but just seeing them move it to the beach, that atmosphere seemed a lot. I mean, it was good in 19, but it just seemed even better, minus the weather they had. But and it was cool seeing Carson back. It would have been nice that would have been a good matchup. He had 1-1, and then I had 1-1, and then we haven't got to race each other. But hopefully they'll be back next year, and I'll be able to race it and go head to head with Carson in the 125 class. And
hell yeah.
Yeah. So talking about that, what's your plans for getting back to racing? Like, are you planning on trying to get back at Supercross? What are your plans for next year?
It sucks that with how the injury's been progressing, I really don't have a time frame. It's one of those things, like, it's just time. My arm injury is all healed up. I am going back to get my hardware out in a little over a month.
Okay.
But that won't take long to heal. But I'm right now I'm dealing with double vision from the shattered eye socket.
Right.
And they said up to a year.
Okay. So they say it should go away, is what the doctors are saying.
Yeah, it should. And they said if it doesn't, there is a surgery they can do to adjust like the muscles to get my eye to point properly.
I get what you're saying. Like, your one eye is not lining up with the other one.
Yeah, it's
okay.
From the surgery. There's some scar tissue underneath where the plate is.
Yep.
And it's holding that muscle, so it won't raise up quite evenly with my right. Like, it has improved a lot to where I can see single normal vision just below looking straight ahead. But looking straight ahead and everything above is double.
Gotcha.
So I've been doing exercises trying to stretch that lower muscle and strengthen the muscles above.
He comes back next year. He rides with his head turned sideways so the eye lines up.
Yeah.
Well, you've been riding with, like, basically one eye, right? Like with like a patch. Stickers.
Yeah. I put a decal on half of my goggles, and I've been riding like that, kind of like Pike was doing there for.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the Ricky Bobby when he sold the windshield to the sponsors.
I do love Fig Newtons, but
you could sell
sponsorship.
You could sell one side of your goggles, because that would probably be the most visible. Everybody, whatever sponsor gets that logo right there. I mean, we need to work out a deal for a Motoxpod sticker right there.
How about let's just hope he gets better?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty challenging riding with one eye. It's like
no depth
the
perception.
depth perception's pretty limited, but it's enough to where I can just have fun ride my dirt bike and get good therapy.
Yeah.
You said they said hopefully a year recovery time, but that was a year ago, right? I mean, we're at that year mark.
Yeah, but since my last surgery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the end of February.
Okay.
So I have
a few more months.
I'm gonna go till then, and it has been improving, so that's a good sign. That once it stops improving, I'll get worried, but the improvement I've been having, I'm pretty confident it should be good. Just keep going with my exercises and praying as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I've had double vision under other circumstances, and I don't know if I would have rode a dirt bike. I was just gonna ask, like, what was it like that very first time that, like, you're like, all right, well, I'm just gonna give this a shot. Like, I'm just gonna put the stickers on and go. Like, what was that first moment like?
It was better than expected. I just actually my neurologist I was going to see, he's like, you need to get back riding, get back to your normal. And I was like really surprised he told me that. I never had a doctor tell me to get back riding. It would help me. So I covered up half my goggles and just I have a little figure 8 track at my house, and did a couple laps on that. Just taking it easy at first, and I was like it's definitely tricky. My braking points coming into the turns and getting that judged, but it came back decent, and I was like, well, I wonder how it'd be on a track. And after a couple days on that, I went out on the track and just easing into it. And I'm like, man, maybe I can jump this. And I jumped that jump and started working in, and it got to where I can ride decently. I don't want to say normal. Like I'm a ways off my pace.
Yeah,
but it's still fast enough to be fun.
Yeah, and TJ, Scotty, we all ride at lower levels, and we go to the track and I'm not jumping that. Joey's out there with one good eye and hucking anything that we even think twice about.
Yeah.
Still so much more talented than us. It's now I saw an interview that Sarah Whitmore did with you from Racer X, and kind of touched on some of these things. And you've been doing some riding schools, I believe, and then you are also working, doing some side work, right, to obviously make ends meet and having to have a day job.
Yeah. My dad owns a suspension company, MCR Suspension. So I've been working for him once I was healthy enough to. In the spring, working for him all summer and doing suspension work on dirt bikes, and then also doing some riding schools here and there as well, doing some camps and stuff. And it's been good. Definitely rather be riding the dirt bikes than working on them, but it's good working with my dad and doing the schools. It's get enjoyment out of it, seeing the kids and the people grasp and learn something. It's encouraging.
Yeah, and it all goes back to that perspective on life we talked about, right? That at some point there's going to be life after racing, and you're doing these other things and teaching schools, and maybe those are things that you're at some point you're going to have to wrap your head around doing anyway, probably. So starting now, getting your foot in the door on that, maybe you'll find a passion for it, and that could be your next step in life once racing is over.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually heading down tomorrow to Club MX, and next week I'm going to do 3 weeks up until my surgery, working there, being a riding coach.
Oh, good.
Being one of the trainers down there. So yeah, that should be a good experience, and see how that goes. And it'd be nice being down there with the crew. Unfortunately not riding with them, but at least I'd be around them and hanging out and helping them out.
Will you give Phil some pointers?
Yeah, I'll help him out.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll want to hear anything from me, but
being such a dick, Phil.
yeah. Quit being so grumpy.
Yeah.
Riding your dirt bike, man.
Yeah, it's fun, dude. Look, hey, yeah, you could have had a major injury and not be racing, Phil. Be happy.
Yeah. Yeah, the roles could be reversed right now. I could be on that bike, and you could be standing here.
Absolutely, yeah. It's grass is always greener, man.
You should go pull the motocross thing where the dad draws the line in the sand.
I feel like this is the third or fourth time you've brought that movie up, Motocross.
Because it was a great movie. Okay, anyway, sorry, Joey.
It's okay.
He said
We had a listener question. They wanted to know what you thought your most memorable race moment was.
Memorable race moment? Might have to. It'd be between Red Bull Straight Rhythm.
Yeah. Winning.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, winning there. Geneva was pretty good too, but winning that. But say Arlington 2020, the Triple Crown, second or the third. I think the third or no second main event.
Yeah.
I got a good start, and I was running second for probably probably 3/4 of the main event. And it's that moment. I ended up 5th that race, but that moment was, I just remember going around the track, you know, being in second behind Chase. He had a little gap on me, but and just it clicking like I'm back. You know, I'd gone through a lot of injuries at that point. And then to be back in the top 3 at that level, I remember just that, you know, that moment of just that felt like a turning point, and I was back to where I was at my higher, you know, one of my highest levels, and then unfortunately the following weekend got hurt.
Dang, Joey. Woo. There's just, you know, it's unfortunate. There are just some riders that is just like, it's one injury after another. You know, this is a very, very dangerous sport, and it just works that way sometimes. Yeah.
I'm not the first guy in this sport to go through it.
Yeah.
But it does stink. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Joey, thank you for taking some time, letting us get to know you a little bit. And I really hope that the recovery goes well. We'll check back in with you and get you back on and see how things are going. And, you know, we wish you nothing but the best.
Good. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yes, sir. Joey, have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your show.
All right. Thanks. All right. That's Joey Crown. We're going to wrap this up for going to our next commercial break. We had a little bit of audio issue again.
Was it
the
me?
Software. No, it's just the software keeps stopped recording, but thank God I'm backing it up. But, yeah, we're going to take a quick commercial break, see if we can fix the issue before the next guest comes on. We'll be back with Garrett Marchbanks.
Yeah, sorry. I was on my truck speakerphone. I had to drive to town to get some better service.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You staying out there at club?
Yeah.
Have you kicked Phil in the dick lately?
No, I have not.
I'm surprised. Like, I just figured Garrett would be a guy in like a 96 short wide Chevy. Not something that had Bluetooth radio. I'm just saying.
Honestly, like, I mean, I've got an old beat 2002 400 back home, but
There you go.
no, I've got a nice truck that I bought 2 years ago, so
Hell
that's
yeah.
what I got for now.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just figured like a hot rod pickup
Yeah,
truck.
I could see that.
Yeah,
though,
Absolutely.
Sure.
I mean, actually, I mean, when I first moved here to the club, I bought a 97 Ford Ranger that beat the hell. But I mean, the first, I'd say 6 months I had it, it broke, mobbed it too hard, so I had to go back to old reliable Ford 350.
I'm about to say you've got to be mobbing a Ranger hard to break it.
And I feel like Garrett would have a gun rack too, like an old school gun rack.
On the back window?
Yeah, on the back window.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
Girl in the middle seat.
back home I'm always carrying, so yeah,
Sure.
for sure. I always carry.
All right. Let's do this introduction and we'll get rolling.
All right.
All right. Next up, joining us tonight, brought to you by Blood Lubricants, which were created to bring out the highest level of performance and protection for all types of racing. Whether you race moto, cross-country, side-by-sides, or even sprint cars, Blood Lubricants has the product for you. With the new Barracuda Bloodline with multiple weights, better protection, and better performance, and it lasts longer, visit bloodlubricants.com. Use that promo code MOTOX to save. Tonight, Blood Lubricants brings us from Club MX, Garrett Marchbanks. What's going on, Garrett?
Got a whole lot. How about you?
We're doing good, man. Like, first thing I got to ask you is, you just came off the open house out at Club MX. How was that?
Man, it's fun. It's a cool, experience. There's a lot of people that come there, get to watch us train and ride for the day. And, it's cool to go watch all the young kids ride and even the older vet guys. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. They get to go ride the big track or training track that we get to train on, and also our public track.
So if Joe Public comes to this event, do they actually get it on the track at the same time as you and the other club guys?
If we ride outdoors, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, when I was there, when I signed to the team, I tested during, the open house, and I rode with all the, the general public.
Yeah, I was wondering, because I feel like that would go all bad with your teammate Phil. I just think he would, I could see him running up on a 15-year-old kid on a 85 and give him the throat slit gesture. Like, why are you in my way, punk ass kid?
Oh yeah, I mean, he did that to me when I was there as a 12-year-old. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, well, let's talk about you, Garrett. Look, man, you came off this 2022 series, full season outdoors on a 450. You raced obviously indoors on the 250 and a few races on the 450. I assume 23 is 450 all the way?
No.
Oh.
No, we're staying down for 250
Okay.
Supercross and outdoors next year is up in there. We're not for sure yet.
Okay.
So what is it about? So is it a team deal? Do you like the 250? I know some riders in Supercross don't like the 450. I talked to quite a few of them. Are you in that deal? Would you rather be on the 450 at times in Supercross, or are you like, yeah, 250 soupy all the way?
Honestly, like I wouldn't mind, jumping to the 450 class, but at the same time, I know I still got a lot to prove. I mean, I just turned 21. I'm still really young. I feel like I can, I still have a lot to prove in the lights class. And I mean, I'd really like to get back up there on the podium all the time. And, even hopefully in the next 2 years, I mean, I haven't pointed out besides, I think 1 year. So, I'd like to, go for a title in these next 3 years in the lights class.
Yeah, you finished 8th overall this season, 250 West, and you had 3 fourth places, I think. Did not touch the podium, unfortunately, but I mean, you had some crashes during some really good rides. Do you feel like there was something you learned this season that will progress you this coming season up a couple more steps? Was there, some learning steps that you picked up?
Yeah, I think honestly, just not getting sick.
Oh yeah, you did get sick in a couple rounds. That's right. Yeah.
I got COVID after round 2, and honestly, like if you watch Oakland, I faded real hard, and I mean honestly, I could barely do the heat race for how it was, and it was just really hard. I mean, a lot of us got it, and it just kind of wiped us out. And honestly, I didn't really feel 100% until I would say A3.
Okay.
And that's when I felt like I got back to my speed again when I won the heat race and had a killer start, but I hit a rock in the first turn and fell and came from last to fourth again.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I mean, I definitely had the speed. It sucked because I know this year I felt like in Supercross I had a lot more speed than I did the year prior. But it was just kind of like crappy luck, honestly. That's the only thing I could really say. I mean, just getting sick this year, and that's about it, honestly, just with getting sick in Supercross. And then Salt Lake, I messed my shoulder up pretty good. Luckily, it's all better now, but that was kind of a rough go. I only rode one time during outdoors before Paula. So I got 1 day of training in and then just kind of sent it and hoped for the best.
That usually goes well.
Oh, for sure.
So you mentioned that you're going to do the 250s next year. What goal factors go into determining what coast you want to do, and do you have any plans to do any 450 stuff in between that, or kind of what all goes through that? And it may still be even too early to even talk about that kind of stuff.
I mean, heck, we don't even know what coast we're doing. It's hard to say. I like either coast. I feel like I'm a good rider on either one of them. 450 stuff, I have no idea. I'd like to, if we're up there in the top 3 in points battling, I mean, that's the goal. I'd prefer just to stay focused on the 250, not ride so much 450 stuff, at Daytona. That stuff's fun, but I feel like I kind of kicked myself in the butt last year going to Daytona just because we had that 2 or 3 week, I think 2 week break before Daytona after A3. And I was sick during that time and only got a couple days on the bike. And I just felt like we didn't have a lot of time to, prepare on the 450.
Yeah.
And I think I rode 4 days in the 450 before that race. And it was just kind of like, okay, go have fun. And it was like, man, I'm a super competitive guy. And I wasn't really that pumped with my position, and I feel like I definitely wanted to be in that, I'd say 8-5 range in that class, even though for how stacked it was this year. But yeah, it was just kind of a bummer. I just feel like, if we don't have all the parts and pieces, mainly on my part of getting a lot of practice in, it's kind of like, let's just focus on the 250.
Speaking of focusing on the 250, does the SMX stuff, do you think that will affect your decision whether you go to 450 in the outdoors next year again because of the accumulative points to get to the playoff rounds and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm not sure, honestly. We haven't talked about that. We'll see what we're doing for, those rounds. But yeah, that's honestly something I have no idea on that side of things.
Yeah, I would think that'd be a big deal for club to try to get you guys in the playoffs for the World Supercross Championship. So yeah, the more points you can get, the farther up you are in qualifying. What'd I say?
You said World Supercross.
Oh, they're doing that too. So
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, Super Motocross. Sorry. So yeah, I would think they'd keep you on a 250 year round because that betters your chances to qualify higher for the last 3 rounds and all that. It's a pretty good little person. That I think it's $500,000 to win for the 250 class.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
I think he just decided he's on 250.
He just made his own decision. Yeah. Sorry, Mike, but this is what we're doing.
So earlier you talked about some of the rides that you had last year where you're coming from the back of the pack on some great, some bad starts and some really good pushes towards the front of the pack. And then you've had some where you started towards the front. Like, I've seen a lot of riders, like in your, I guess you say, talent, be able to just charge through the pack and then I guess you say can't progress farther because the competition gets higher. How much of that, when you catch up to somebody who is on your level, does it change your mindset? I know if you're behind like a
lesser rider,
you're like, get out of my way, I'm going. But you catch up to somebody, like Jet or somebody like that, you're like, okay, this guy's on my level. Does it change your mindset on how you pass them or how you race them?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Heck, there's so many rounds. I think, honestly, I don't know how many rounds we did last year. Nine rounds. I think 8 of them I came from damn near last. And just my starts were terrible. And I hopefully we figure them out. And but no, yeah, I'd honestly say, like, once you get around that 7, or I would say probably 6 or 5 range, that's when I noticed it gets pretty hard because, you're spending half the race, passing dudes and, working your way through the pack. And then once you get into that 6th, 7th, 5th spot, it's not even that it's like they're the same speed. They're just hard enough to make it difficult on you. And sometimes, on certain tracks, if you're already tired by 10 minutes and you're just trying to pass guys, I mean, you don't really realize how much more energy you use when you're coming from way back instead of just starting up in 6th or 7th.
Sure. Yeah.
Making a couple quick passes. I mean, I definitely realized that last year on certain races. I did have good starts on it. It was like, man, that was a lot easier to, take the 4th. Like, yeah, no, it definitely makes a difference. I mean, for me, I'm a bigger, aggressive guy. I have to try a lot harder to hit certain jumps or rhythms compared to other guys. So I'm already using more energy. So if I'm starting way in the back and, passing 15 dudes, by the time I get to the 5th, it's kind of like, holy cow, man, we still have, 5 laps to go and I'm trying to, right. Position.
But doesn't it feel so good to pass a bunch of guys like that? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm slow. When I get out, like in a practice with guys that are even slower and I'm passing guys left and right and I feel like I'm Garrett Marchbanks or Jet Lawrence, I'm like, yeah, I'm a bad dude right now. And then you get to the faster guys that go blowing by and you go, damn, I suck. So I sure like passing a lot of guys. It's fun.
No, it's definitely fun. The first round when you're fresh and, you kind of come out of the gate quick. And some guys, it's the first 2 rounds. Some dudes aren't as fast as others. I always feel like my first 2 rounds are great. I always feel like I'm on it my first 2 rounds. And you definitely notice, like, round 1 to round, say, 7, like round 1, you could pass 8 dudes in 2 laps. And round 8, when everyone's kind of up to speed a little more, everyone's progressed a little bit, it maybe takes, instead of 2 laps, it takes 5 laps. And it's definitely a lot harder once the series goes on also.
Sure.
Yeah, Gary, I'm kind of backtracking a little bit. I wanted to ask this before when we were talking about the Super Motocross. Just from a rider perspective, what do you think about the whole season kind of being one thing? And, like, how do you look at that? And does that kind of affect any way that you would make your goals for the season or anything?
Man, I know it's kind of silly, but the only thing I kind of get bummed about is it's messing up my my hunting season.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, but we only get a month off out of the whole year to go elk hunt, and that's like my vacation with my friends and family back home. And I remember I was back home on the mountain hunting with my family, and we seen the news on Instagram, immediately my dad calls me. He goes, "Are you serious? That ruined our hunt for next year." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. Tell me about it." Yeah, and it's just kind of funny, just like seeing that stuff. But honestly, it's cool. I love racing, all that stuff. I just wish, like there wasn't so many, the World Supercross and, this new thing. I wish it would just be like one good season, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, though I think these things will play themselves out. But I mentioned that I did a podcast with Michael Lindsay about the World Supercross, and that's my one negative. Like, as a fan, sure, I'd love for you guys to race every weekend. Even as media, it gives us something to talk about. But as somebody who's become friends with some of you guys, I'm like, look, all these, these guys that are in relationships, they're or whatever, they're setting their weddings and their anniversaries and their trips for the 1 month they get off. And guys like you want to go on a hunting trip, or like, you don't get the week off. You are working all week training, and then you racing all weekend and traveling. They're like, you don't get weekends off. You don't get time off. So to add another week or 2 or 3 into the season, and then for some guys you go into Motocross of Nations, yeah, you have to have some time off.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Scotty. I know you're waiting. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, well, I would say that from a normal person perspective, that I don't get a month off, and I pay to ride a dirt bike. So like, you could look at it both ways.
You get 2 days off every week normally. Most people get at least 2 days off. They don't.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's fair.
Yeah, they're working day in and day out until the quote unquote off season that now they want people to race all the time in.
Well, Sundays they kind of chill, right?
No, they fly.
Oh, that's true.
And hopefully they recover for a few hours, and then they go back to riding 20 and 30-minute motos on Monday.
Yes. They train
Garrett,
all day
I'm sorry. I had an opinion for a second. I apologize.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're good. Tell me about it's funny because I was back home, and everyone's like, "Oh, you get time off. That's nice." It's like, yeah, it's only a month. Like last year we got it seems like every year it's, they're taking a week off of our schedule.
Right.
And like at my rookie year, my second year, I think we got almost 8 weeks off or something like that, or maybe not that much. I think it was 6 or 7. And then it got cut, and then even cut more. But it's funny, I was back home, and everyone's like, "Oh, how much time you get?" You're like, "Oh, only a month." Like, dude, we never get a month off of work. I'm like, "Yeah, but it's different. Like, we're constantly flying, driving, racing, training. Like, it's totally different on us." Yeah. No,
Yeah.
It's like normal average person, gets Saturday, Sunday off, maybe even sometimes Friday, half day. Like, our Fridays are full, travel, racing all day Saturday, travel Sunday. Like, yeah, it's a lot.
Yep. Yeah, it is. It's everybody thinks it's like they would love to live this lifestyle, and maybe they would, but it's not all I don't know whatever. It's not all perfect. It's not all this happiness or whatever the
sunshine and rainbows.
There you
Yeah.
go. Perfect. Thank you, Garrett.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Garrett, when I think about the Club MX team and I think about your ride there, I feel like you kind of fit the mold for that team, and it's a good spot for you. And I really like seeing you on that Yamaha. Have you had any other offers, and what would it take for you to leave that team, since you seem to fit with them so well?
To be honest, I haven't had really that big offers anywhere else. Here it's amazing. You get your freedom, you get to go home, and we're out here in the middle of nowhere, but it's pretty cool. It reminds me of home. You got the trees, not much mountains, but you got the rivers, the creeks, the ponds. You get the fish, and you get all the tracks. Like in Southern California, you got to travel everywhere. You get the same 2 test tracks you ride day in and day out. Here, Brandon Haas is always changing the tracks. We have multiple tracks to train, and even if we get bored of Supercross, we get to maybe ride outdoors once a week or twice a week on the sand track. But besides that, I get along with everyone. It's great here. Me and Brandon get along. Me and my mechanic, and the whole crew. We always, they come over, hang out at my cabin on the facility on Sunday. We all watch football together and cook out. No, it's a good deal over here, and yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I've heard a lot of good things, so that's good that you're enjoying it, because I think that's a big part of it, especially when you basically are working 360 days out of the year, it seems like. So yeah, to enjoy where you're at is real important. What's TJ?
Yeah, so one of the listeners on YouTube made a comment that led me to a question here, and he was talking about like someone like you evolving into a rider like Chiz, somebody who has a long,
consistent
program and career that goes on for many years. And I was curious about how someone at your level looks to that. Like, I know your goal, win championship, just like Chiz's was when he was younger and moving forward. But do you look at riders like that, guys that have a long, almost storied, like kind of privateer, sometimes factory, on good teams, sometimes doing his own? What do you think about that? Is that something that you're like, if it turns out that way, I'll do that kind of deal?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, it's hard to look at that way right now just because, you know, I'm 21.
Yeah.
Growing up through the amateur ranks, I was, you know, a really winning kid. Like, I mean, I have 8 titles at Loretta's and a bunch of other titles everywhere else. And, you know, when I rode for Mitch, you know, the plan was to hopefully get a title over there. It never happened. I mean, I did have my breakout year in 2020, and, you know, I felt like that was honestly going to be a really, really successful year for me, especially in outdoors. That was my, you know, go-to thing. But when I blew my knee out, it was kind of hard, but so on. You know, I trained with JB, and, you know, he's a dude that's 36, 37 now. You know, I've watched him a bit growing up through the years, and, you know, being on, I think it was like BTO, KTM, Honda. You know, he's had some great teams, and he's had some so-so teams. And, you know, you watch him and you talk to him, and, you know, he's had a very successful career, and it's been a very long career also. I mean, if the, you know, my career didn't go exactly like I wanted with, you know, wins and titles, I mean, I definitely want it to be just like Justin Brayton. I mean, to just race and race and race and race and make a living out of it.
Yeah, I think that's honestly, to me, again, you said you're young, right? But that is ideal. Yeah, it'd be great to be Eli Tomac, but that's such a small percentage of guys at your career that are the Eli Tomacs. So to have a long career that's fairly injury free, making a decent living, making, you know, enough money to take care of your family, I mean, that's ideal, dude. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having that as a goal. It's maybe a secondary goal, but still a goal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know at the moment though. I mean, I don't want to look at it that way, you know, just being kind of like the 5th, the 10th place guy.
Sure.
I know, like, my results, a lot of people, you know, give me a hard time. They're like, well, you know, you don't deserve to be on a factory ride, or you don't deserve the club ride this year because you didn't, you know, do better than Enzo or this guy or that guy. And you're like, man, I mean, I DNF'd 3 rounds. I had 3 top or 4th place finishes, had a heat race win, you know. I was sick a lot of the Supercross season, which sucks, and I hate making excuses. But, I mean, a lot of us, you know, we've all watched top guys have the flu or the cold. I mean, they've taken 14th that night.
Yep.
And,
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. But
anybody who's telling you that you don't deserve the factory ride, those people are trolling you, I promise you, because there's...
Oh, 100%. But it's just funny because ever since, let's say, 2019, it's been that way. And, you know, at 17, 18 years old at the time, I mean, you have a lot of pressure on your plate.
Of course.
And it's just, you know, that's all I've pretty much had my whole career, is just a lot of pressure, a lot of people, you know, all eyes on you to do better and better and better. And especially coming over here, I mean, we're such a small team. I podiumed round 1, and we never got back to that point. I mean, that first year here at club, we had definitely probably 2 other podiums I could have gotten. I crashed out, and it was definitely hard, especially this year, not getting a podium at all. You know, every year I've raced, I've gotten at least 1 podium. And, but no, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, just keep trucking along, keep doing my thing. Just get back on the box where I belong. I know I belong up there with those top 3 guys in the mix, and, you know, hopefully make a run at it this year, if not for sure next year.
Absolutely. Last question I got for you before we let you go is I saw you taught a couple schools. It seemed like you enjoyed it, because I think you even added one on after the first one. Just talk about teaching and, you know, how, if you enjoy that or not.
Yeah, honestly, like, man, I love teaching kids, and even like the older guys, younger dudes, and it's just something I love to do. You know, a lot of people helped me out as a young kid, and for me to go home and, you know, like I said, we don't get a lot of time off, but a lot of people always hit me up for classes back home. We usually get, you know, 10, 15, 20 kids out there at a local track in Wyoming. You know, we put on little schools, and the first one was a huge turnout. My buddies helped me set that up, and I don't know, it's just something I love to do. That's something I'd like to do when I retire. And, you know, just teaching's fun, you know, watching a kid that, you know, whatever, wasn't very good at the beginning of the day, and after a 3-day camp, you know, starts hitting jumps and turning a lot better. You know, it's pretty cool to watch and know that you helped someone get that much better in 3 days.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man. I think those kids need that. Kids look up to you, so that's really cool that you're trying to give back a little bit and, yeah, influence them some. You got one more?
Yeah, I just thought of one.
I told me I was going to let him go, Scotty.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just thought of
no,
one.
You're good.
What do you like about working with J Mart this upcoming season? What do you think about being teammates with him?
You know, J Mart's awesome. You know, I rode with his brother Alex for a while, and Alex taught me a lot. And, you know, just getting to hang out with them during the summer. And, you know, Jeremy's a very intense dude in practice, and that's how I am in practice also. And it's definitely cool to have someone that's kind of like on my level of the intensity and will push myself. And I feel like I push him a little bit. I know he's like, you know, the bad dude on outdoors, and it's hard to keep up a little bit. But, you know, on Supercross, I feel like we had a couple of good battles in 2020 and the past couple of years. And even now, I mean, we've been pushing each other, and it's only day 4 on Supercross. And, heck, it's been a lot of fun. Him and I get along super well. And, yeah, I'm super excited to work with him this off season, and hopefully we push each other and, you know, we crush it.
That's what I was about to say. I think that you guys are going to push each other to the front. That's going to be really cool to see. All right. We got one more. We had a listener question, and you may not even want to respond to this, but one of our listeners wants to know a one-word description of Mitch Payton.
I thought he hung up.
Yeah, I thought he did too.
No. I mean, he's a really good dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I got along with him really well.
Yeah.
No issues with him. I mean, even after everything 2 years ago with the whole Atlanta incident, I mean, heck, his kids are always talking to me, hanging out with me, and no, I mean, I have no issues with them. I mean, very good dude and good family.
Yeah, I think there's a general thought that maybe you guys really parted on bad ways. I know we've talked about this actually in the past, but I think some people still thought there might have been some bad blood there, but yeah, none.
No, I mean, it's sad that people think that because,
Yeah.
I mean, heck, after Bud's Creek, after the races, you know, I went over to the pit and talked to him, and, you know, he was just sitting there by himself, and I just thought it'd be a good time to just talk to him. I haven't talked to him in a few months, and, yeah, we talked for probably 20 minutes just talking about family, life, and stuff
That's
like
great.
that. And, yeah, no, I mean, it sucks that people think we parted on bad ways. I don't think there was anything like that. I think just me at the time, I was a young kid. I wasn't very social. You know, I didn't go to the shop a lot, you know, like the other pros would, and, you know, go hang out. I think that's what people thought of me as being a rude kid and not wanting to, you know, be social. I was just, you know, when you're young, you just kind of stick to yourself and you do your own thing. And, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong. I appreciate you explaining that, though. It means a lot, and I thank you for responding to the text and coming on the show tonight.
No, thank you for having me, and have me whenever.
Absolutely, dude. We'll hit you up as it gets closer to Supercross, and we'll definitely see you at A1. Or, well,
All right,
maybe
good.
we won't if you're riding east, but we'll see you when we see you.
All right, sounds great. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Garrett. See ya.
Yeah, see ya.
All right, that's Garrett Marchbanks. We'll be commercial break. We'll be right back with Christien Ducharme. You were looking at me funny. I thought you were about to say something, Scotty, but no, I had the Jeremy Martin on there, but I just thought the interview, we were getting close to our time, so I just cut it. But it was a good question.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm sure you probably looked at my notes and.
Yeah, TJ looked at mine, so I stole yours.
I did not. CBH said Mitch Payton has kids.
Really? He doesn't know that?
I guess not.
Yeah, he's got like twin boys, I think. A couple. Is that all he has? The two? Or do you know?
I know the twins. I know
Yeah,
his
yeah.
twins.
Are
I
they,
don't know
like,
if they're boys
young?
or girls.
They're probably early teens now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. I'm sure that's a question because he's paralyzed.
Oh, I didn't even think of it that
I'm
way.
assuming. But
I didn't go there. That was all
clearly-
on you,
well,
bro.
no,
I didn't go there
That
either.
we're on this side of the table. You're on your own.
I mean, no. I mean that could be obviously a legitimate thing, right? But no, clearly everything works. Good for Mitch. Well, maybe not everything works.
Maybe you should go to commercial.
We'll be right back. All right, next up, brought to you by Works Connection. Since the inception of Works Connection in 1989, Eric Phipps' goal has been to produce Works-like products for the general public. For products like the industry standard Pro Launch Start Device, the Elite Clutch Perch, radiator braces, customized master cylinder covers, and much more, it's hard to imagine you not going to WorksConnection.com so you too can have what the pros use. Use promo code MOTOXPOD20 to save. Tonight, Works Connection brings us Christien Ducharme, factory Honda mechanic for some kid named Jet Lawrence that he's up and coming, TJ. But what's up, Christian?
How's it going, guys?
It's going good, man. How you been? You been working hard today?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this whole off season hasn't been much of an off season. Just been grinding.
I don't understand. He's in Florida riding. You're in California. You're just off. You don't have anything to do.
Oh, exactly. Exactly.
You're just at the beach, man, surfing during the day.
I was at the beach, just enjoying my life.
Yeah. No, but really. So explain to us, for our listeners, like you're hit Jets mechanic, but you're in California. What are your day-to-day roles right now that it's quote unquote off season?
Well, we had a little extra race this fall in the Biz Nation. So after outdoors, we get back and get everything ready for that, and then get back and then clean up all the mess from that big mud race, and then start, getting Supercross bikes ready and all that, because right on the corner, Supercross comes a lot quicker than we think.
Yeah, so you don't really get an Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all good. Basically, just shop days.
Okay.
So you're a salary employee, right?
Yes.
So in the back of your mind, when the Motocross the Nations and these extra races are being talked about, you're like crossing your fingers that he doesn't make it?
I mean, I wouldn't go to those lengths.
Yeah, it's still all part. I mean, you clearly, I've talked to you at the races, and we did the nuts and bolts article for Vital with your partner there, Cameron, and you guys really seem to just love what you do, working together and being at the races. You guys are really good buddies. You have a passion for it still.
Yeah, I mean, it's the passion for it's what keeps you going. I mean, once you get burnt out on it, that's when then it becomes like a normal 9-to-5 job,
right.
Where you're like, oh man, I got to go to work. I got to do this. I got to do that. And then you're like, all right, well, and now you're kind of miserable to work with. So no one wants to deal with you.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, all of us really that do it, and you do it because you're passionate for it.
I want to back up though a little bit, just kind of where you grew up, how you got your start in the industry. I mean, you didn't just come into the industry and start working for Factory Honda. You had a path.
Yeah. I mean, no one really just steps in.
Not normally.
Starts doing it. Well, I grew up in northern Vermont, and then I found a school more like a program and a trade school type to go to, and that's Scotty Atkins School, the Pro XMX Tech.
Yep.
So I found that, and I found it when I was about 16. So when I graduated high school, I moved to West Virginia, and I did that, and I really think that was definitely a good path for me. That was a great path for me, and that's what the path that led me to be where I'm at today for sure. If it wasn't for that, I don't know how I would have got in industry. Just kid from small town Vermont, has no connections to any part of this industry. You kind of got to know someone or somehow how to get in, and that was my somehow and some who. Yeah,
the Scotty Atkins SXMX school has a very, very high percentage of graduates getting into the industry. Like I feel like it is leagues above going through MMI.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to go to a dealer and just work on service stuff for people, you want to change oil and tighten chains on motorcycles and side by sides and whatever else all that kind of stuff. You can go to MMI. You want to be racing. I mean, MMI doesn't train you to be racing. Each program has their own specialty, right?
Right.
So it's like you want a job to try to get in the industry. I mean, Scotty teaches you what you need to know to get on a race team.
Absolutely.
And like what you're going to deal with on like your day-to-day stuff, your race stuff, your shop time, like all this and that. that was where his knowledge is pinpointed, and if that's what people are interested in, that's definitely the route I'd recommend.
Yeah. No, backing up just for a second, when you were growing up, obviously you had to be a fan of the sport. Were you a racer that hoped to go, to have a career in racing, or were you just like an amateur guy going, I'm probably never going to be good enough to be a pro, but I do like working on bikes. Maybe that's a career path.
Yeah, I mean, that was the second choice. There was my life.
Okay.
Like obviously, just amateur kid racing. Just having fun with it.
Yeah.
And then obviously at some point I had to realize and grow up to what I wanted to actually do when I got older. So I was like, I grew up working on a lot of different things around my dad's company, like a lot of different excavators and tractors and stuff, like working on that kind of thing. And so I like the mechanic side of it too. So what's the second best thing to riding them, working on them. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great way to look at it. And a lot of guys in your position now had the same thought process, right? Jelly, Josh Ellingson, Cade over there at Husky, he also came through that Scott Adkins school. All guys that rode and realized it's not going to be my career choice, but I want to be in the industry, and they made the right choices, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, that's, again, still better than some other 9-to-5 job I could have came up with. You're kind of just bored.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
There's not much in this job that you're just kind of bored with.
No,
There's
definitely.
always different excitements and the ups and downs and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what it was like for you when you started getting to work with Jed, and like he's kind of got that spotlight of the hype that probably a lot more than a lot of other guys do, and I just wanted to know like how that kind of changed your perspective on how you worked with riders and that kind of stuff.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's difficult, right? Because I've been with Jet since he came to America, so it was before the limelight and all the, the hype and all this stuff. He's still just an amateur, and he just turned 15 when he came to the States. So it was, not like it just jumped into him like winning the title. Obviously, like that would be a little more of like a oh wow type thing. But like it's just you kind of seen the progression of him, and then myself too. The progression of myself being better as a mechanic definitely has been kind of cool.
So we have a couple of our live chat listeners with questions. Hal Simpson has a couple of them. I'll have his, and then. But before we get to his, State Farm Jake wants to know what was the team's thought process on keeping Jet's championship bike dirty.
The thought process.
I don't know. Like I guess did they not clean it and they just put it up for display dirty?
Yeah, kind of. We just kind of let it be as it was when it came off the track, and then
Me too.
And then after it's kind of done and it's kind of had shows or this or that, then I'll tear it down and clean it all up and make it look like a show bike.
Oh, that's cool. And then on a personal note, a personal question, I guess you'd say, digital or the mechanical torque wrenches, and does the team require you to use digital or mechanical clicking torque wrenches?
I like the mechanical clicking.
Yeah?
Because the digital, it varies. You hit the, you got your lights and the vibrate and all this and that, but you never get a firm feel for it.
Right.
So it's a, people preset their torques and all this and that. That's cool, whatever, but I'm just still a firm believer in the solid click.
I'm a digital guy.
As a team-wise, the team doesn't mandate to be digital or click. That's still us mechanical, like our mechanic preference, but still, I'm a firm believer in the mechanical click type.
And we've got one more. Does a team, do y'all practice doing an engine swap? Before during the off season or whatever, does the team go, okay, everybody get together, we're gonna fire drill an engine swap?
Sometimes we do, just we kind of step into that situation. Say there's a practice bike we just do an engine on, either at the track, like doing testing in off season and stuff. You have to do engine swap at the track if you're trying different cranks or trying this and that, trying different bits, and it's easier to swap an engine.
Yeah.
But mainly, we try to figure it out on a new chassis model.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You know, that's the biggest part. But I mean, we build these bikes, 30-something times a year, plus that.
Right.
So by the time we go racing, we're pretty well aware of what needs to happen. But on a new chassis, the biggest thing to practice on.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
But, I mean, yeah, throughout the year, I mean, one, we don't have a whole lot of time to practice that. I mean, but at the same time, we don't really, we do it so much, we kind of already have a good process going.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways.
Do you have any tricks for getting the air boot on? I fucking hate putting the air boot on.
Just loosen it up and give her a good push.
Yeah, but they pull the whole subframe.
I know.
We just do the whole subframe.
Yeah, you just pull the whole subframe. So when you go to put it on, you pop it on and then bolt the subframe.
When you go to put it on, put a little squirt of contact cleaner around the rubber. It'll slide right on.
All right. I'll try that next time. I have cussed at motorcycles more. I also have a couple carbureted bikes. So,
but no, hold on. I got here today, and he's complaining about this skid plate that he got for free. And I'm like, what's wrong with the skid plate? It's just impossible to get on. And I'm like, let me go look. And then he's like, you can do this and like 2 seconds.
Mute your mic.
2 seconds. It's like here, and I didn't even tighten the bolt up. I go, you tighten it up, and I walked away.
I just didn't want to put it on, Christian.
Man, I hate getting free shit and just not being good enough to put it on, right?
He's not wrong. I struggled with it for a while, and yeah, whatever. Shut up, TJ.
Man, but there's many stuff we gotta get that you're like, oh man, this is a cool little factory part, and you're like, oh man, I gotta do a couple things to it to make it fit. Great.
Yeah, like I love getting the Works Connection hole shot device. I'm like, man, that's a lot of work. Got to pull the damn fork guard. Got to pull the fork. Got to drill all these holes. Come on, man. Why can't it be pre-drilled?
Because that makes life too easy.
Yeah, right. You got another one?
And then this is the last one that we have questions from listeners. Muppet wants to know, is Jet like a mechanical-minded person or just a rider? You're going to throw him under the bus, aren't you?
I'm going to say he's just a rider.
He's getting more aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, when he first turned pro, you wouldn't know what will happen. As long as it's better, he's happy.
Yeah.
But, now he's kind of, he's getting a lot better for his feel. The older he's getting and the more experience he's getting.
Yeah.
He's becoming a better tester as well. But it's still, I mean, even if there's the slightest issue with the bike or this or that, it's not handling the best, he's just going to try to make it work anyway. He's not going to, freak out about it. He'll just be like, I kind of did this, but, I just made it work. I just adapted.
I kind of like that, right? Yeah, I mean, there's some guys that are super critical of every little thing. Like, we'll take Chad Reed, for instance. Everybody knows his history. I kind of like that Jet's just like, yeah, man, I made it work. That's a racer, dude. I love that.
Well, I mean, like, look at Indiana Supercross this year in the heat race. Fell on the first turn. The right side of the bars were completely bent. The front wheel was all tweaked, out of line. But the right side of the bar hit so hard that it bent down and back so much it was almost like riding a Harley. And I mean, you saw what he did. He ran through and rode his ass off, and he made it work. He didn't come in and go, I'll just go to OCQ. My bars are bent. I have to go and finish.
Yeah.
And it's and seeing Indy, how gnarly that track is with ruts and this and that, like, how badass it was to actually, of a ride that was on the equipment that he had for the moment,
Yeah, that says a lot about him. I like it. Scotty?
Yeah, so, kind of going off of that a little bit, since you've been with him for so long, what do you like about Jet's program? And if there is there anything that you would maybe change about his program?
Like as far as like training and riding and all that kind of stuff?
Just big general, just kind of anything at all. It doesn't have to be specific.
I think the best thing about this program is his dad calls him out on all his shit. Like, hey, no, you're just being lazy. Like, shit, all right. Or, but there's no slack of work. It's you need to do this much if you want to be successful and win. Like it's not really like up for debate.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really debate it. It's like, obviously it's been working. So, the riding and the fitness inside, it's all there.
Yeah, that's good
There's not
parenting.
really any slack of it.
That's good parenting that they're not like, oh, he's a superstar. No, you're still my kid. I'm going to tell you how it is.
Well, I mean, and, a kid being 19 and with, all this media pressure on him and, all this and that, all the eyes on him, to be able to mentally and physically handle it, to put in the work, to back up your hype.
Yeah, my kid would be an a-hole if he had that much fame. I'm just saying.
At least you're honest about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Christian, back to you and just what you do day to day. And for those that haven't read, we, like I said, I did an article with you, Nuts and Bolts, but what's the best part of your job, being on the road with your buddy Cameron? What's your favorite part of the weekend? 'Cause I know it isn't setting up and tearing down the tents, but there's a lot of fun that is had during the weekend.
Yeah, that's the setting up and tearing down the tents is low on my list of fun things to do.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, obviously the best part of the weekend can be if you have a good weekend and your rider and someone on the team wins. That's obviously the ultimate goal, right?
Yep.
Is to go to these races and win and then do good and have good results. The second best is just us as a team. We have dinners. Go explore the town a little bit. One of the nights, just you're in a different city. Let's go see what's around, some cool places, and just exploring. You're always traveling, so why sit in your hotel room if obviously the night's needed. You get your sleep and your rest. Be stupid, but if you have a night to go look around and explore a little bit, it's always on the list of things to do.
Yeah, speaking of getting your rest, one of you two told me a story for the article about when maybe a night you guys didn't get your rest, and there was a little recovery going on the next day during setup of the tent. So it was kind of miserable. I think it was you.
It was me.
Yeah,
it was both of us, but I had the worst end of the stick.
Drink a little bit too much the night before.
Yeah, just a little bit. That's some of the stupid lessons you learn.
Yeah. So, what round was this? What track?
Thunder Valley last year.
So hot as all get out, and you're up in elevation, and you're hungover, and you're miserable.
Yep, all that.
I love it.
All of that.
Yeah.
And it was like guys, like, what I'm sorry. Fucked up last night. My bad. I'm better than this.
Yeah.
Jet's dad needs to call you out on your.
Oh, he does.
No, that's good.
He'll look at you. I don't feel bad for you.
Yeah, at least you came to work. You still got your job done. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's not race day, but still,
it's
not the best image to have.
Sure.
So you learn quick. You're like, okay, don't be that dumb.
They didn't get you to drink out of the boot, did they?
Huh?
You didn't have to take a drink out of the boot, did you? At any point?
No, I did not do a shoey.
Okay, good. Yeah, I couldn't. Oh,
Ugh. Is that all you had?
yeah, that was it.
That was your question?
Yeah, that was my comment.
Very in-depth question there, Scotty.
It's called going along with what the interview process is.
I hear you. Yeah, Christian. So I guess my last question really, with the position you're in, all you mechanics get bombarded at the end of the night, kids running through the pits, wanting stuff. When you have a team, actually I have two more questions, but anyway, when you have a team like Factory Honda with so much talent, obviously Ken Roxon was there, Chase Sexton, the Lawrence brothers, kids got to be, the people wanting stuff has to be unreal. Like, what's the worst story you have of somebody trying to get something of Jets from you?
The worst story is this one kid, there was this little kid, sitting there and, they're just being polite, not yelling, not doing this. So I give him something. And then when he walked away, the kid this kid could have been more than 5 or 6. And then this older kid was trying to pummel him for it. Like, come on, man. Like, that's not cool.
Wow.
And then it's like that kind of stuff's like, it always bums you out. Like, come on, man. Really?
Yeah.
Like over Fort Guard.
Jeez.
And then, but I always, like, when it comes to, like, at the end of the night, obviously, you always got, give me, I want this, I want that. So I always do trivia.
Yeah.
I started doing this thing, I think it was last year or beginning of this year, I started doing trivia. So I'd take everything off, then ask trivia questions about the day or about Jet or this or that. And I'm Jet's biggest fan. I ask my trivia question and they can't answer it. And you're like, all right, well, maybe do some homework.
What country is he from?
But I always give it. I just do trivia questions, and then if I see like a little kid somewhere that's been like in the back being quiet and doesn't have anything, I'll try to give them something. But like it's always like when you just sit there and try to pick people, man, it's like a more of a pressure thing. So if you ask them questions, and they get a question right, you're like, all right, here you go.
Yeah, I dig that. That's a good idea, man. Just because kids are definitely they're expecting like they think you owe them that plastic. So I like your take on it. Yeah. Last question. You got a new teammate coming in with Colt Nichols. What do you think about Colt? Do you know him very well?
I don't know him a lot.
Okay.
I know that we raced him in Supercross in 2021. Him and Jet had a lot of cool battles, but he was always a super great guy to race against. He was never really sour about much and always raced clean. So I don't really have I don't have any bad thoughts on him.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good for the team. Colt's a really cool guy, great attitude, and super talented. I think it was a real disappointment that he was kind of looking like he was going into this year without any support. So things worked out for him. Maybe not so much for Kenny, but I'm sure Kenny will figure it out. But I think it's a good fit. I think Colt's going to be really good for the team. And I know that's the 450 side, but still, it's all Honda HRC, so I think it's going to be good.
Oh yeah, we're all one team there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, Christian, man, it's been great talking to you, and really enjoyed visiting with you a little bit at Motocross of Nations, and appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We'll holler back maybe once the season starts and we get into it and see how things are going.
Perfect. Sounds good.
All right, Christian, be safe and talk to you soon.
All right. See you guys.
See ya. That's Christien Ducharme, factory mechanic for Jet Lawrence. What do you guys think? Good show?
Yeah.
Decent show?
Yeah, it was cool.
Did
No. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did Nichols sign for outdoors and Soupy? So I bet that they're gonna leave Jet on the 250 for outdoors.
No, I think he's 450 outdoors.
I'm wondering if that super motocross stuff changes stuff like that.
I think his deal is kind of already set. Just realized your mic's a little low tonight, but no, I think Jet is 450 outdoors no matter what. I think that was part of the deal. That's what they wanted. What do you guys do over there giggling about? Like I'm missing out on the
chat, man. You gotta have the chat going.
Yeah,
No, do not. You
I
cannot.
don't. I
You cannot
don't. I
have
need
the
to
chat
pay
going.
attention to the show. It's hard enough to do this as it is. Okay, well, that was pretty much all of our guests. So, do you guys want to talk about anything else? Or do you want to call it a night?
We haven't really done much other than guest stuff, so. it's up
And
to
we
you
hadn't
guys.
talked about straight rhythm, which was
Yeah,
awesome.
talk about
So you
straight
do want to talk
rhythm.
about? Well, I mean, TJ, you're usually ready to get out of here
I'm ready to go.
because you're cold and tired. And
I'm cold. I'm not tired. I'm good.
I'm about to take my shirt off. So
He's
I like
cold.
my
He's
Hellfire
wearing a
t-shirt. Oh,
freaking
speaking
parka.
because I just looked down at my Hellfire t-shirt. The giveaways that we talked about 2 weeks ago, I haven't sent those out yet, guys. I am sorry. I still have the Hellfire album sitting over here, and I have some Grill Your Ass Off to send out. It will get done. Just bear with me. It's free shit. You'll get it.
It's my fault, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's because Scotty was late today.
Damn it, Scotty.
I wasn't even late.
Hey, you were.
That's
all
not
right.
late.
Hold on. You were not late for the show, but you said I'll be there by 6.
I know. I
6
was
o'clock.
driving and I was like, "Damn, I got stuck at a couple of lights longer than I thought." And I was like, "I'm gonna be there like 6:01." And before I was getting out of the truck, and it's 6:01. It's 6:01. I
Muppet
was like,
said
I'm in the
Scotty
driveway.
Muppet said Scotty looks like a BMW driver.
Did
Yeah,
you
if
ask
someone's-
Hal's question? Because you said there was like 3 of
Yeah, he
Hal's.
did.
did.
He asked
Oh,
all of
okay.
them.
Okay. All right. Red Bull Straight Rhythm this past weekend. I'll start with this. I enjoy watching it, but I think it is my least favorite of all the events. But like in our group text, TJ, everybody thinks it's like their favorite. So it's kind of interesting how different I see it. Like it's not that it's not cool. It's just not as cool as like a Supercross race to me.
I think
It kind of gets repetitive.
I think if you did it a bunch, you would.
If I did it a bunch, like,
No. If they did it a bunch, like if
Oh.
you watched it a bunch, it could get repetitive.
yeah,
like if it was
yeah,
week
sure,
in, week
sure.
out. But I think them having like the brackets are small enough to where like the night goes by quickly to watch it, but they're broad enough that some wild card people. It's not just the 4 or 5 people. So
Yeah.
and I love the fact that just about every race except for except for someone crashes or makes a really big mistake, is like almost wheel to wheel at the finish line. And that to
like
me,
the Justin Hill Hanny race.
Yeah, those were
Dude,
good.
that was fantastic. Like there were some good moments.
And
but-
the bar show web races were good too.
yeah, there was definitely, and that scrub that we talked about from Kenny. My God, that was unreal. There was definitely cool things. I just kind of like. It's just so repetitive because there are no turns. You know, I almost said torns. Torns.
they do 20-something laps. The only reason why you don't feel like
But
Supercross
I want
is
some block passes and
well,
some.
the only reason why you don't feel like Supercross is repetitive
Barsha
is,
tried. He got as close as he could.
is because of the is because there's so many riders out there and
Yeah.
the camera bounces from rider
Maybe.
to rider. Because when they just stick it on one rider, doing his last 2 or 3 laps, or even if it's a battle of 2 guys, everybody's like, "Oh my God, jump around, go see."
I
some-"
want to see the battle. So I want to see some passing.
It is crazy to me how something without turns can have that much like ovulation between the guys. Like
What was
Great,
that
this
word?
track. I don't know.
ovulation, like
said
difference,
ovulation?
different time difference. Sorry,
That might be a real word. I just never have heard it.
What was the word?
Ovulation?
ovulation means that it doesn't go like this; it goes like this.
I'm writing that down. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'll learn a new word, but
You
I
want
hope.
me to Google it right
No.
now?
I don't think that was properly used.
I
It was
hope-
close.
I
It
hope
was
it's not
close.
even the right word so that we can make fun of him. But we'll
Hold
save
on.
that
Here,
for
I'm gonna look it
I
up
think
right
he's
now. I'll make fun of
ovulating.
myself.
Ovulation?
But no, he's right.
They use it in golf a lot because it talks about the ovulation of a green.
But that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. That's what I said. It's a
It doesn't-
misuse.
Yeah, it doesn't
of a
matter.
word.
But you thought you liked the event.
I love
you
it.
want to go next year.
Absolutely.
You think it'd be better live than on TV? Because I feel like it'd be worse.
No, I think it'd be just as good.
Okay.
I did know. So I noticed something kind of funny. It was like, and I put myself like being there and like having like spent all this money to be there, and like I did notice that like they would, after the guys would finish, they'd pan to the stands, and then they'd be standing up and they'd be sitting down, and then the next guy would come and then one person would stand up, and they'd all stand up and they'd sit back down. I felt like if I was there, I'd be like, just
sit down.
That would be me. Hey, I will say this though. And,
You don't have to stand up to see.
And you brought up a good point. I think I don't want to go unless I can get like media passes.
Yeah, and it sounds like even Randy Richardson last night said he couldn't get any. He was there, but he couldn't get into the pits.
Yeah,
that was he said the fire marshal shut that down.
Yeah.
That would probably change it. If you're just Joe Blow in the stands, I think the TV would be better.
Okay. Yeah, I think for the most part that's the way it is, really.
If that's how it is, then I'm out.
Yeah, it was very hard to get passes. Yeah, I mean, like we could have got them for Vital.
Yeah.
But I mean, they did. Michael and Dylan were there.
Right.
But yeah, it was very, very limited access to the pits. But I mean, there was other areas along the boardwalk where like you saw the people at the end when they were doing the interviews. But I wouldn't want to sit at the end where the interviews were being done because you can't see anything. So I just think that's the other thing about that event we talked about. It's kind of like maybe not a drag race, but you only get to see like they go by.
Yeah, the
and
drag
you
race.
can't, but the drag race. The reason I changed what I was saying, in a drag race, the stands are only like at the beginning.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I see what
but you basically can't see the whole thing very well. I think live. Maybe you can. I wasn't there. Maybe you could tell what was going on.
There were people standing on.
I don't feel like they could see past that tabletop. Like honestly,
that tabletop that had that wooden, wooden roof on it.
It's huge.
There were people standing next to on that. Like I doubt they were just normal spectators. I'm sure it was people with credentials.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else on Red Bull Straight Rhythm?
I did not.
It was cool at the beach. I guess.
I did not expect Marvin Musquin to. I
continue his undefeated streak.
Well, yeah, I didn't. I'd never thought that he couldn't have won. It's not that. I just didn't think that he would sweep Roxon at the end. The way Roxon was riding that day, I think that the rain.
I don't think he does if it doesn't rain.
You don't think he does? Yeah.
Because he
might have still won, but I don't think he would have swept.
We were watching it. My wife and I were watching it because that's who I was hanging out with.
Roxon slid out bad on the first one.
And even she was like, "Oh my God, we like making references to some riders that we know need to learn to scrub better."
Oh, that's a good point.
Let's go ahead.
Well, there were some maybe AJ or somebody that I think was racing like Kenny and
not scrubbing.
He was like, dude, in my mind, you have the ability to scrub. Why are you not scrubbing? Because it's clearly massive difference.
Massive, and that's what she was saying. She was like,
"Yeah, it wasn't AJ. I can't remember who it was."
I think
some of the amateur or the young pro guys, they could really learn from watching that.
Yeah, how important it is.
How important it is.
I think with the way you landed before that tabletop and the way it was, depending on what side you were on, I think it was hard for them to really tell how much their scrub was going to stop, because you didn't want to scrub it and then come up shorter, as you would die.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of why, and like that's why the only guys that were really throwing it were like Roxon, Barsha, guys that are known for doing that.
Right, that's a good point.
So
And then we had
oh my
Hanny.
God, timestamp that. TJ just said I had a good point.
Hanny had a
Cut that out.
he kept doing that quad or triple or whatever
Yeah.
it was, and it was slower. And it's like, did nobody tell him?
Well,
That's
I don't
his
think they were
thing though.
running
Like I
Wipros,
mean, like
but yeah.
he's the quad guy.
But
like-
it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, he was there trying. He said he wanted to win, and yet he's
I
doing
still think it was.
the
I,
pretty
slower
close.
line.
I think it
don't-
was.
It
Still
was
close.
noticeably slower.
He would be behind somebody and then be tied with them after that.
You lose, like, you don't gain acceleration in
And then
the
it ended
air.
up costing him because he
Prove it.
messed it up.
Yeah, exactly. It was not worth it.
I thought Derek Kelly did good for being as big
Yeah.
as he is on a 125.
Right. There's
150.
This is sort of different, but off.
Yeah.
So I was watching the Weed Show post race stuff,
Yeah.
and he's walking through the pits, and he walks up to Dylan Kelly, Derek's brother, and I could see he high fived him, but he didn't say good. He's just like, "Hey, how was your night?" or whatever. Like I texted Weeds right afterwards and said, "You didn't know if that was Derek or Dylan, did you?" Because they look almost the same. And he's like, "Nope, wasn't sure. That's why I didn't ask any writing questions." I was like, "Yeah, I could tell you
Was
could
his
tell."
brother like mechanicking for him or something?
He's filming for us for
Oh,
Vital,
I
so he
gotcha.
was there for that. But he was at Derek's pit or whatever, and they look very, very similar if you don't know them well.
Right.
So yeah, it was funny. So I could tell
He
right
was-
away that he didn't know.
He was filming for us.
Us.
Yeah, he was filming for.
Darkside's gonna turn into a chode.
I work for Vital. I'm sorry.
I work for Vital.
It sounds like how you talk all the time.
Hey, I got to get one back, right?
I'm sorry. I was.
All right, we gotta end on that one.
I'm hungry again. Something to eat. And I want to go ride.
You're gonna go
That's
night
what I
riding?
I'd like to. I didn't do any motos today, so. But
on your mountain bike or something?
no, I want to go ride dirt bikes.
Oh,
I'm just talking because I want to ride. I've been trying to ride a couple times a week.
Yeah, it's no lie. It's only 38 degrees outside. Go for it.
The weather's fine.
oh, I gotta start my truck.
Lots and lots of work to do tonight, though. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks to Cherubies USA, Race Tech, Fly Racing, X-Brand Goggles, Works Connection, Torque One Racing, our Jerky, Berm Lords Graphics and Jersey ID, Shock Socks, Williams Motor Works, Extreme Colors, Blood Lubricants, Power Band Racing, TruFusion Sports, Grill Your Ass Off, all part of the MotoX Pod Show, episode 247. Thanks to Joey Crown, Christien Ducharme, and Garrett Marchbanks. I'm trying to think.
We
if
still
there's-
doing the one on, one off thing? Or are we going to do a show next week?
That's what I'm thinking. I don't fly back till Monday from GNCC. But
won't
the
be
week
here.
after, I'm leaving Tuesday for Vets. So let's try to do a show next week because the week after I'm on the road. And I don't think I'll be back the week after that either because I don't think I get back till Tuesday night.
So then I'll be back whenever you do the show after Vets.
So I don't think we're doing one that week.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we might. Okay, so my
First
schedule.
one after Vets, I'm saying if that's
Yeah.
true, then I'll be here.
I don't know if I'm going to go to Pulp after that for the Metals Up show. Because once I beat Steve, he probably won't let me come in studio. So it just depends on when I come back. Because I may stay an extra day to go do Pulp.
I really hope Steve wins.
Do you really? You're like the only person I've ever heard say that.
I was on your side, but you've been getting a little cocky with it.
I'm just talking shit, man. I'm trying to give it back to him.
And he's trying to like, oh,
He's
I
trying to
don't
act like he
care what
doesn't
I
care.
finish.
I'm just racing myself.
Yeah, I'm
just racing myself.
No, you're not.
No,
You're not
not,
racing
Steve.
yourself.
Because I'm going to take your front wheel out.
He's telling you, he's saying that because he's
You're gonna GoPro it, right?
yes.
Yeah, I'll probably have my GoPro on. I don't see why not.
Have one front one and backwards.
No.
So put it on backwards whenever you go down to the line and be like, hey, I wanted to get some video of you riding.
Oh, yeah. Well, so you didn't
Yeah,
listen last night.
you said something like
He's
that.
talking about his big surprise that he's got.
It's factory suspension.
No. He hasn't talked about what his big surprise is yet. It's embargoed.
You know what it is?
I do know what it is. But I was like, I said it's not. I guess maybe I'll see it from behind once I take off or what. I can't remember exactly how.
Yeah, you have to look back to see it or
Yeah, so
something
I
like
guess
that.
I think I might have said like
Yeah.
maybe I'll have my GoPro on backwards so I can see what it is once I go past take off on you or something like that. And yeah, he's not taking the bait.
racing myself.
Anyway,
That sounds like you.
so I think we'll do a show next week Tuesday night.
So
We'll do a short show next Tuesday night before I leave for Tampa.
Cool.
So all right, that's it. We're out.